Hey everybody, welcome back to Bag Only, my Ultimate Iron Man with no additional storage and all that stuff. At the end of the last episode, we did a few more hard diary tasks, including most of Desert Hard, apart from the Calphite Queen kill. So what we're going to do at the start of this episode is go knock out the Beneath Cursed Sands quest. That's the new quest that awards the Keris Partisan weapon, which is the best weapon for killing KQ. And it also gives us access to technically go and do some Raids 3 and get ourselves some gems that we can put in the Keris Partisan and make it even stronger. So if we do want to go do a KQ kill in future to knock out the Desert Hard diary, it'll be a lot easier with this weapon. Plus it's a quest we have to do anyway, so let's go do it. Beneath Cursed Sands is pretty cool. It's actually a quest that unlocks a brand new fairy ring. I think you only need to start the quest to get this, so that'll be useful for our account as well if we ever want to come down to Sophanum for whatever reason. I do want to go do Pyramid Plunder one day to get a scepter, just so we can have the ancient spellbook altar in our house. So I'll probably use this fairy ring to get down to that minigame when we do get to doing that in future, so that'll be cool. But yeah, just a nice simple quest that they added that we have to do in order to do some raids. There's actually quite a lot of combat in this quest specifically. I guess, depending how you look at it, there's up to like 4 boss fights, if you count fighting 2 Scarab Mages at once as a boss fight. If not, then there's actually 3 bosses, which is interesting. And there's this head guard that you have to do at the very, very start of the quest, but we just broad bolted him and 8 potatoes, just guided him around. Standard fare for our account. But then down the line there's also a Scarab kind of wizard guy that you need to fight inside this ruin, and there's also the Menophyte Ack, the final kind of spooky shadow boss. So I actually nipped back to Apatol and got our D-Skim back for this one, just because obviously we did Monkey Madness 2 last episode, and we no longer need any items with us to travel to Apatol or interact with the shopkeepers, so we can just go drop 100k, get our D-Skimmy back at any time. It's so useful for this account. So with the D-Sim and some supplies, I headed over to the ruins to the east that they just added. You've got to run through, do a bunch of puzzles, but it obviously largely falls down to just clicking on whatever quest helper highlights in blue. The interesting segment was this kind of Sepulchre-style bit where you have to run down a corridor, dodge some arrows, get into some safe spots, and then get to the end within a time limit to pull a lever to turn the arrows off. That was kind of interesting, but then in here we did have to do a couple of fights. We had to fight 2 Scarab Mages. They're just like 2 normal Scarab Mages, so you can just pray Mage, as long as you've brought like a prayer pot, it's no problem at all. But then the actual Scarab champion guy himself's kind of difficult. He actually has a lot of unique mechanics. You have to keep running around the room. He fires shadow magic in like an exploding AoE around you, so you have to keep moving, dodging that. He also spawns these portals that do damage to you and summon things that you have to swap and kill. And then you also just need to keep out of melee range of the boss himself. I actually tried this a couple of ways. I had to do a couple of attempts. The one that worked was actually using the crystal bow that we've still got from doing Roving Elves last time. It's just a weapon with 10 tiles of range, which is really nice, and obviously it's 1 tick faster than the rune crossbow as well, so it was really nice to keep away from this guy running around the room, kiting him but also maintaining constant DPS while dodging his things. And then after that you just do another couple of silly bits and bobs. You just run around, you like gather some flowers, you talk to people, and then finally you have to fight the Menophyte Ack, which is the big final boss of this, and I'm sure is involved in some way in the lore of Raids 3, but let's be honest, who reads the quest dialogue? The final boss of the quest, the Menophyte Ack, is actually kind of tough as well. She has a bunch of mechanics again. All these new quests are very mechanic heavy. It's not like the old days of just like bringing the correct prayer and just clicking on things. You have to move out of the way when she does a certain animation. She's about to fire lightning in your direction. You have to dodge that or you'll pretty much die. And then throughout the fight she also summons these shadow clones, and then eventually she swaps positions with those, and then like they explode if you don't kill them first. So you have to keep an eye on that, while also keeping an eye on your health, making sure you actually DPS her down as well as the shadows down, so it's a bit of a DPS race. It actually took me 3 attempts to beat this boss. I did have to teleport out twice. The attempt that I actually defeated her on was because I kind of worked out that in her first 50% of HP, she only summons clones that use ranged attacks, which are obviously far less deadly to melee armor than magic attacks. So for the first half of her health bar, I just kind of ignored the shadows, just DPS'd her, and then just when she was about to go swap positions with them, just run and hit them once to cancel the swap. But then yeah, afterwards, for our last 50%, I would immediately swap and kill the shades, because obviously they'd be barraging us with magic attacks, which would be really accurate on this proselyte that I brought. So just understanding that mechanic was kind of the difference between succeeding and failing here. But yeah, just pretty much a full inventory of potatoes, 2 restores and a water skin. We actually managed to scrape our way through, which was good. And then something happens with the lore. I'm not sure if Osman turns out to be a bad guy here, but after this quest he does get replaced in Al-Kharid with just a different hooded Alcaridi like spymaster guy. So maybe Osman was evil all along. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, we just go back to Sophanim, turn in the quest to the High Priest, get a lovely cutscene where the Menophites meet the Sophanimites or whatever, and then we get ourselves Beneath Cursed Sands complete. 20k agility XP, which is always nice. It's kind of funny, I had intended to go do this quest ages ago, if you remember, like the last session we were doing agility pyramid properly, I think to get like 73 agility back then. I was planning to go do this quest to get the 20k reward, but we never got round to it. But now we're going to do it just because it gives us the reclaimable Keris Partisan, obviously we can go buy back later and use to kill a KQ whenever the time is appropriate, so that's cool. And obviously that's 2 quest points and also access to Raids 3 if we do decide to go there. And also during this quest we unlocked access to a brand new fairy ring to get us to this area of the map, which is always nice because it is still a pain to get down here. For this one you also get the Enchanted Circlet of Water, which is just a tiara you can wear that you can charge with water runes, and it acts like a ton of water skins in one equipable slot. So that might be useful in future for us, you know, saving us some invent spaces, having like a stackable water skin. So with Beneath Cursed Sands complete, we got ourselves 20k agility, and that put us very, very, very close to 74. So I just nipped over to Seer's Village, seems to be the easiest course to get to, and just did 11 laps just to clear out that level, get ourselves 74 agility, just in case it unlocked anything new. And then in that same vein, we were very close to being 80 mage at this point, so I just cast some like Alks and Camelot Tellies, just to get that last bit of the 80 magic level. Now we have access to Blood Blitz on the Ancient Spellbook, which I've talked about a number of times before, probably use this for the Song of the Elves boss fight. And then also we can now drink a beer and get ourselves to 83 mage with a very convenient boost and make a Barrows portal in our house for future Barrows endeavours. Hey everyone, it's a new day, which means our tree is done. Really nice when palm trees actually grow successfully because they are worth 10k a piece, which is crazy good. So for Western we've, I think, done everything except killing Zulrah once. Don't really have the gear for it right now, and I don't really want to go back to Barrows until after Morning's End 2. Because I don't want like some really heavy Barrows sets with us while doing the Morning's End 2 maze. But between Morning's End 2 and like Song of the Elves, we'll definitely be going to Barrows for some gear. Maybe that'll be the time to do a Zulrah kill, but I'm certainly not doing a Zulrah kill looking like this. And then for Ardy, it's just the Morning's End 2 craft a death rune task, which you can't do inside Guardians of the Rift. So yeah. We need to do Morning's End 2, we need to kill a Calphite Queen, and we need to kill a Zulrah, and then we'll have 3 more hard diaries on the account, which is kind of crazy to think. Not sure when we'll get around to doing those, but there you go. Right guys, it's time for another quest. I'm going to finally get around to doing Taste of Hope now, which is the vampire quest where you first get the kind of flail weapon that you can actually use. So without a Dragon's Medallion, I'm going to take this boat. I don't know how much it costs. 10k a ride, dude. Alright, we'll do it, just for the content, but... you can pay this guy $1 million to make this boat ride unlimited use for free, but I just don't know that we'd ever use that boat 100 times to make that worth it. So, Taste of Hope. It's kind of the first proper vampire quest that's any difficult, really. We've obviously done all the other ones like Darkness of Hallowvale and the Mayakyu, Mayarik quests. And what we want to do is finally help some of these poor Mayaditch citizens rise up against the vampires. What I've done is I've been to Korasks and Druids, and made a bunch of potions. As you can see, I've got a full superset, a few prayer pots, and then just a little bit of food, and then the stuff on the bottom row is just the items that we need for this quest. So this is very similar to the previous Myreek quests, where you just have to talk to members of the Resistance and help them out. There's 2 like mini-bosses during this quest. There's an abomination that we can fight, but since we haven't yet got rid of our crystal bow, we still have this nice long-range weapon. We can actually use that to safe spot the abomination mini-boss on a corner, and he can't fight us back, so that's going to be really helpful that we've still got this. I've also alked the D-Sim again, because the only melee we do during this quest is with the actual vampire-killing flail weapon that we make during this, and also we can use that flail to cast Bloom in the swamp and get those mushrooms for super energy pots. And it means that we don't have to make a silver sickle from scratch. Now at the end of this quest you actually get 3 lots of XP books. They're really small. It's 3 lots of 2,500, so we'll get 7.5k for this. So it's not going to give us a herb lore level, sadly. It'll put us on 20k left to 68. And then I believe the quest after this also gives us some XP lamps if we can complete it. I've seen people struggle with the Sins of the Father boss, myself included, because you do need good DPS. But we'll focus on this quest for now. And then it may be a case of we'll try and do as much Sins of the Father as we can up to maybe like the final boss and then just stop and do something else. So now we need to go back to the Theatre of Blood again. I really think we're going to have to Ecto and pay the guy again. This dude's going to make bank today. So what we need to do is go back here to the Theatre of Blood area. We need to talk to this random tramp guy and get him to cause a diversion. Again, he wants 1,000 coins, so we're spending an awful lot of money this quest already. We're already 21k down and we've just started. But with him creating a diversion for the vampire guards, we can climb up this rubble. What we do is we basically shimmy our way all the way around the castle to a window at the back that actually points inside the Theatre of Blood raid. So here we go, we peek inside, we see all the vampires, the lead vampires, sat inside the raid plotting. So now we have to, once again, get back to the Mayaditch basement. Anyway, we go with Saflan here, into one of the basements in Mayaditch. So we loot these chests in this warehouse. We do a little bit of herb lore using the vial of water that we brought, and we attempt to use this on the door, but it doesn't actually work. And then Saflan has an idea that perhaps instead of water we could use some of his, like, special blood. So once we've made the potion and done the puzzle, we can go inside, search the chest, and we get ourselves a piece of parchment, just some old notes. So now we need to prepare for a fight, then return to the base. Like I say, this is just the fight that we can safe spot. I have checked the crystal bow. We still have, I think, like 400 charges on it, but we don't actually have much use left for the crystal bow. We'll almost certainly drop it at some stage going forward. Can't imagine any quests that we're going to need it on. Fairly sure for Dragon Slayer we'll definitely need a crossbow instead, because we'll want the anti-dragon shield on the other hand. Anyway, here's this big stinky monster, so I'll just run off. Just need to bring him out through the doorway, and then just get him trapped here, and then we'll just turn walk on, and then we'll just attack him. The crystal bow's just so nice, dude. I so wish it was viable, I really do. It's just so expensive. Every time you buy a crystal bow, the price goes down. It starts at like 900k for one, but then it does go down to about 150k or something, which means each shot costs 72 coins. Whereas like with a broad bolt, they cost us I think 57 or 58 each, and we have an 80% chance of saving them each shot, so it's so much cheaper to use broad bolts. Plus this needs 2 hands. So with the Abomination dead, we leave. So we need to go talk to Old Man Ral, who's kind of a rebel sympathizer, who has a little basement down here that becomes the shop later, I think, to reclaim the flail after this quest. Since our other hideout's been compromised, we now hide under here and plot against the vampires. So once you get to this point in the quest, you can come back here for unlimited sickles, which means you don't have to remake them if you want to go get some Mortmire fungus for energy potions or whatever. So let's pop an emerald into this blessed sickle, then we make an emerald sickle, and then we need to make a enchanted emerald sickle. Oh, we had to get the rod back from Berg de Rot when we were there. This guy's doing some barrows, what a champion. He must be a UIM with that setup, dude. With the defender crossbow setup, he looks like me. So we go back to Berg de Rot, we talk to Veliath. He's still holding on to the Rod of Evandis or whatever, and he just gives that to us back, and then we can use our new enchanted emerald sickle B on there with the chain in our inventory, and now we have the Evandis flail, the first vampire killing weapon. And we're just going to go back here to the rebels, and we're just going to exhaust all the dialogue in here until we're sent to the Theatre of Blood to do the final boss fight of this quest. So after the cutscene, we should be thrown straight into it. It's not a very difficult one, like I say. Obviously, there are a few mechanics to this. He does have summons, he has dodgeable explosion attacks, so you do actually have to kind of pay attention. So let's just go for it. It seems like we can hit up to 32s. So this guy has 400 HP, it seems, which is quite a lot. Also, your prayers don't fully block this guy's attacks, they just reduce them by half. This guy fires blood bombs at us, but if we move, we can get his minions hit by the blood bombs instead and get them killed, which is cool. Once these guys are dead, we should be able to fight him again. He comes down from his perch, and then it's just the same like 3 times. And at the very end of the fight, he stops with all his stuff, he goes berserk, and he just hits you with melee, so you can just swap to melee prey, and you're completely safe. And that's it. Could say we lightly over-prepared for this, but I'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. Because if we die anywhere, especially like this, there's a 20k death cost to get your items back here. So we'd have to somehow make 20k and get back here. And to get back here, we'd probably need 5k to buy the ectofile back and 10k to use the boat. So it's got to be careful. But we also get the Draken's Medallion, which isn't as good as it sounds. It's a teleport item that teleports you to where you pick it up. If we drop it, then we'll have to come back here to get it. And then if we come back here to get it, we don't need to come back here because we're already here. So anyway, that was Taste of Hope. So let's pop our XP book into Herblore 3 times. And then we do actually technically have everything to go and begin Sins of the Father, which I would like to do. I really don't know that we have the stats. But anyway, that was Taste of Hope. That's our XP into Herblore. 67, 20k left till 68. 2 more levels after that for the quest cape. And we've got access to the Evandis Flail. And also the Draken's Medallion, so we can now go do raids. Someone carry me on an entry mode raid, guys. I really need it for this quest, please. Absolute beasts. Rune, Dragon crossbow, regular unelite void. I really hope they're off to raid, that would be sick. Right guys, straight off the heels of Taste of Hope, we're going to go begin Sins of the Father and just see how far we can get, because it's going to be such a huge quest to get completed on this account. There's so much I want to do after Sins of the Father that I really just want to go see if we can in fact complete it. I've just been refilled our stats, still got the same pots on us, just filled up on food. I know we can at least do the first few parts of the quest. We can do the stealth section, then we can kill a vampire who doesn't need to be killed with the flail, so we can probably beat him with our crystal bow or crossbow or something. Probably quite a few sections of this quest, at least before we have to go into Darkmire, that we should probably actually be able to complete. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on around the City of Sleep here. A lot of cool looking NPCs as well. And we're very suspicious of this guy. So what we do is we hide round the back, and then we follow him to find out where his beer comes from. Probably shouldn't have been running around because I think we'll need our run energy for the stealth segment coming up. Or potentially I should have gone and got the Lumbridge ring because we've not used our free energy recharges today. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could definitely do with more run than we have. Okay, there we go. Stealth segment complete. So I guess this feral vampire called Croy lives in this basement. He's probably like sacrificing people or something on his spooky lab table because there's blood all over the place. And he's probably turning this into the blood beer that's getting everyone sick. So that's kind of uncool, dude. There we go. Now if we just turn on Protect Mage, we should be safe spotted. So after this segment we do a little bit of talking to people, and then we need to head over to Patadomus, and we need to take Ivan Strom through a temple trek to take him down to Berg de Rot to join the others. Right, here we are. Here's Ivan outside Fenkenstrain's castle. I was going to speak to him, and then there'll be a little meeting here with some vampires that show up. It's kind of funny because in RS3 she looks awful. She's like a really scary, like gargoyle demon type woman. So Venescula is one of the high up vampires, but she also wants the leader of the vampires killed for her own personal machinations, so she kind of helps us, which is cool. So let's go. We're just going to send it straight through a temple trek without any prep. Hopefully Ivan can't die. I remember doing the other quest, maybe it was in Aid of the Myrique or something, where you take someone through temple trekking and he died like twice. Don't quite know where Ivan's gone. He's just vanished. Is he dead? Ivan, hello? Finally it'll be some vampires that we have to kill with our flail here, so we want to kill the one that attacks Ivan first. Please tell me he can be healed with this. Look at that, tick perfect heal. We're so good at the game, boys. Anyway, here we are. Venescula's here, and Sathlan, the leader of the Myrique's here, so we just have to do a cheeky puzzle to open the door of this mausoleum. But thank you to Quest Helper. We don't need to even think about it. So here we find out that Sathlan is an Icene or something, some kind of crazy powerful race, which is why he has the crazy powers like to make the blood potion in the previous quest, things like that. Okay, so it's back to Myditch with everyone spoken to. As you can see on screen, we once again need to talk to some Vyres, get sent to the mines on purpose, so we can go running over to this basement that we went to in one of the previous Myrique quests. So we go with Sathlan to do a little bit of exploration, see if we can find more books on the blood alchemy down there. And we'll also see that there are some mutated Bloodvelds in there, which are normally the Bloodvelds that are on Korend, but you can also fight them here in multi with a cannon after this quest, which makes it the best spot in the game to do Bloodvelds for Slayer, and actually makes Bloodvelds one of the best tasks in the game for XP. So that's really good. So we'll carry on talking to Sathlan, then we'll do a little bit of exploration, and chances are we'll just go click on the thing that is blue. Right guys, back at the graveyard here. So what we need to do here is go to Old Man Ral's house. There's a trader who lives nearby, and he actually sells Firewatch disguise clothing. Once we have our outfit, we can go back to sleep, go to a mansion where there's a kind of a lesser Firewatch guy, and we can kill him, and then we can use his scent on our disguise. And then we can get deeper into Darkmire for the quest. I think once we beat the mini-boss, if we come back and reclaim this from Old Man Ral, I believe it's already scented, so we don't have to fight the mini-boss again, at least, which is good. What's also good about this, if you wear this to the mines, then talk to the guards inside and be like, hey, I'm a noble, I shouldn't be in here. And they're really apologetic and they just let you go without mining the 15 ore. So that's really useful as well going forward. Right guys, back to sleep, ready for the mini-boss fight. I've resupplied. This vampire guy, he poisons you, he mages you, and he also starts fires around his house, which buff him. So you just need to drink an antidote, protect from mage, and then also stomp out all his fires that you can. Hopefully we can do him first try. Then once he's defeated, we can just go back and reclaim whatever other teleport items we need. So as you can see, he only took a 1 from that hit because he has this fire here that I didn't extinguish. So you just have to keep an eye on those, basically. So this mini-boss was actually a lot easier than I expected. I only ended up eating like 2 potatoes for the whole kill. So yeah. So now we have the fully scented via noble gear. Okay, we're back at the graveyard, ready to carry on Sins of the Father. Just grabbed an axe as well, because for the next step of the quest, we're going to need to chop a tree up in Darkmire. So I didn't want to have to make a second trip to get an axe. And now once we're in the mines, we can just dress as a noble, talk to these guys and be like, yo dude, I'm in noble, what the hell? Let me out of here. And he's like, oh. And now we're here at the top of Mayaditch. What we can actually do now is sneak through this crack in the wall and actually get into Dark Maya proper for the first time. There's a bunch of random stuff in here, and there's some general stores. There's the Dayalt Essence mine, which I honestly don't know if we can use. And then here's the Hallowed Sepulchre, but obviously you can't use these things until you've fully completed the quest, so... Awful lot of quote-unquote players here as well. A lot of alts. It's just a really good thing to come kill once you've got this quest complete and you have the better weapon. You can recharge your prayer here and just kill Vyas, it's very easy. So dressed as a noble, we attempt to get into the Arboretum, because we need to chop this tree so we can make an even better flail weapon to kill the main vampire guy. But this guy says, not really too happy with you, I don't know if you're a legit vampire or not. So we need to go back to the bottom layer of Dark Maya, and we need to do a bunch of tasks to prove our worth. One thing we can do is go tease someone in jail, just to show that we're evil and awful, so we'll go do that, but I guess it's for the greater good. We'll treat it to a cutscene, and then after this we should actually be allowed into the Arboretum to mess about with the tree. There's a puzzle inside, but thank goodness for Quest Helper, we won't have to think about it, we'll just click the blue things. And then I think we have to chop 8 logs, which we can just do if we ditch all our food. So you can just sit here and chop this tree, and it very rarely depletes, and you actually get 76 XP a log, so it's not bad. You just can't really do anything with the logs, and they don't really have any value. I think we've got enough wood cutting. We can chop all the trees except redwoods. Magics are more useful anyway. But like I say, I do enjoy fletching, so it might happen. Anyway, it's back to the graveyard now. We've infiltrated Dark Maya the first time, got inside the Arboretum, we chopped our logs, and now we can learn about how we can upgrade our flail. So now what I'm going to attempt to do, this might be a terrible idea, is we're going to drop our noble gear. Supposedly you can reclaim this from Old Man Ral's house, which is where we're going. But we do need to bring a chisel, a knife, a ruby, and some cosmics to enchant a ruby thing. And then we'll head back to Mayaditch. I'll see you guys there. So we give this guy 7 of the logs, and because of that we can now reclaim a bunch of flails in future down here. I guess he makes some with those logs, so we can come back and buy them. So we need to now make a ruby sickle, same way as before. Enchant that bad boy, pop a log on it, and then we just attach that onto the flail instead of the emerald one. So that's pretty much it, actually. All we need to do now is go back to the graveyard, wherein we can begin the final boss fight. There's quite a lot to this boss, a lot of mechanics. I really don't expect to beat him with this setup. I've pre-potted up, I've got ourselves a super strength 4, and then 2 full super restores. I don't think we'll need 3, hopefully not. So we do have 70 prayer, and we do have a piece of proselyte on as well. This is mainly just to kind of gauge the guy's power, really, so I know how many things I potentially need to get rid of to do this, because I don't want to delete stuff if I don't have to. So let's just send it. I know he has a bunch of random special attacks, and then when you kill him he heals 200 more and becomes even stronger, and you have to kill him again. It's really funny, if you look for guides for this on YouTube, like Iron Man guides, there's like low level, low gear requirement guide, and like mid-tier Iron Man guide, and you go on, they've got like fire capes and torsos and full sharks and whatever. Like I say, if we can't do this, then we can always come back later. We can always go hit up the grubby chest, for example, get some better potions, some brews. Once again, this is a Grandmaster quest, so this is one of the hardest quest bosses in the game thus far. Sadly, all the Myrique perish, because this guy's super strong, he just immediately turns them to ash. But let's just see if we hit, I guess. I'm potted up. Again, he's another one of these quest bosses where you can pray against him, but he just hits through them. So that's why you actually need mage defense gear. Okay, I mean, I clicked, dude. You get a 1-tick warning. We died with like a full invent of stuff. And I did click, so... Okay, that's fine. So as you know, the rules for this account, we're not allowed to like utilize our death pile to do any skilling or anything. But what we can do is just like thieve 200 coins or something real quick. Just to get our legs back to go back to our death pile. Don't know if there's a better way to get money immediately if you die. I'm sure there is if you change your respawn somewhere else. Yeah, I'll just get 200 coins back, guys, buy our berg legs back, teleport, take the boat, go to the graveyard, grab our death pile, and then we'll see what we're doing. So I'm just wondering where our stuff actually is. Is it free? Oh no, I don't have 50k! Oh no! I mean, I assume we can use like the 49k in here and then... Right, I need to make 400 coins without dying. I'm not used to this, I don't know how to rebuild. What if I just like chop yew logs and sell them? Like, we're not abusing the fact we have a death pile. Just making a bit of money to get our death pile back. I'm gonna see how much a willow log sells for, see if that's quicker than thieving 3 coins at once. I think I can't go straight back in and do a back-to-back kill. I think I need at least 50k safety money on me. So I'll make the 400 coins here. We'll go back, we'll reclaim everything. And then I guess... I don't know, maybe we'll just do some Slayer or something, make some money. Is that enough? Right, that's 400. Yes, pay 50k. So he takes my money and then, yeah. If I come back and do this again, then I'll probably get rid of the crystal bow, probably get rid of the crystal teleport seed, probably make these into tally tabs instead of 3 invent spaces of runes. Yes, there's a little bit we could do to free up more invent space to take this on, but I'm just itching to have another go straight away, but it's a really bad idea. It might be that we go to gargoyles in this gear, honestly. Dude, how can you not love gargoyles? Like, I just come over here, I'm like, oh, I need some coins for the rebuild. Rune fully, rune 2H, some addy legs, couple of coin drops. It's just the best thing ever. I was originally meleeing these, but I kind of ran out of supplies, decided I didn't really want to waste super restores just to kill these guys. So what I'm going to do is just use up the rest of these crystal bow charges, then just get rid of it. So just one more space for like a karambwan or a pineapple pizza. Hey, could be the difference between beating a quest boss and not beating a boss, so... It's going to chill here, get a couple of coins. Didn't have enough money for alch runes before we came, but I'll just go to the Berthorpe shop and sell these 3. And we'll get ourselves like 60k starter money, which is good. Right, gamers, we're back in Berg de Rot. I'm going to sail over to the graveyard. I think we've got an invent to try this again. Got rid of our crystal stuff, made some steel knives, got over 50k to reclaim our items if we do die. Got a full inventory of the absolute best food we can, which is pineapple pizzas, a super strength, a regular attack, and a regular defense pot. Then here's the gear. Should be doable like this. I think all I need to do is probably preemptively turn away every attack or something, because you can't react to his darkness attack or whatever it's called, so let's just hope for the best. It would be nice if we could get some better legs, but since they nerfed Black D'hide, it is actually quite difficult to find other legs with magic defense bonus. We need to either pull some Carols or some Blessed D'hide legs from clues. I'm going to shut up so I can pay attention, so wish me luck. What I did for this boss was I actually counted out loud until he was about to do a special attack. Whenever he does a special attack, I think it's like 1 of 3 different attacks, but on the off chance it's that one that kills you if you're looking at him, I would always turn away whenever it was time for him to do a special attack. Now, it's not an exact science because the range of auto attacks between his specials is something like anywhere from like 6 to 8 or 6 to 10 or something, so you never know exactly when he's going to do a special. So every time it was around the time for him to do a spec, I would just look away before his attack. You can't just wait for it and then turn away like with the Basilisk guy from Fremennik Exiles. You actually have to be turned around already. So yeah, just made sure to be extra careful and just count his attacks out. Made sure to use our knife switch to kill his Bloodvelds over the crossbow. Obviously they don't have quite as much range, but it reduces the delay after you attack his Bloodveld summon to when you can then go back to meleeing him again, which is really important obviously just to keep up enough DPS to get through the phase. So phase 2 is actually kind of difficult. You do need to keep eating because your protection prayers completely stop working on phase 2, so you can't really avoid his melee damage. And then at the same time as keeping your health up, you need to dodge these black circles that appear more and more rapidly as his health drops on the ground. As well as dodging those and eating, you also need to find time to actually hit him and maintain your like combat potion boosts. Come on, RNG. When we actually finally got to the very end of this guy's health bar, we actually completely ran out of food and we were on like 30 HP, so it was very, very close. Once again, had RNG gone slightly differently, we could have just failed here. It's purely down to your stats and your luck. Oh, yes! Sit! Oh, we did it, I'm so pleased. Oh, boys, we did it. That's Sins of the Father complete on the account. Not bad, did it on our second attempt. I'm glad we made all the necessary preparations for that one because we literally had no food left. Oh, it's another Grandmaster quest down. First Monkey Madness 2 now this. This unlocks so much stuff. Like I say, we get the Dayal Essence, which we can use for rune crafting for 50% more XP, if that works on UIMs, not sure. And we can buy a bunch of stuff from shops, a lot of cosmetics. We can get ourselves a shortcut over the wall so we can get here from sleep without the Dragon's Medallion. We can use the Hallowed Sepulchre, do some agility. We can get ourselves 3 lots of 15k XP into our Herblore, which is massive. That's like 3 hard diaries worth. We get the better flail that we can come reclaim. We can get a new teleport up to Darkmire with the Dragon's Medallion. Plus with this quest done we can actually make blood runes in Guardians of the Rift, but we do still need 77 runecraft to do that. So it's not something that's going to be available to us immediately. So let's check something real quick. It puts us in Old Man Rowell's, so I believe if we come back here in future... So this weapon specifically costs 40k to get back if we ever need it to kill Vyres, which is perfectly good. And then I believe this chest here contains the noble clothes. I don't know who we speak to get the Drakens back though. I don't know why they didn't just add it to his shop for free, but So technically we can do via tasks, things like that now. We can head straight to Sepulchre, do our agility grind, so we can do Morning's End 2 a lot easier. But amazingly, what we can do is get 45k Herblore XP. So there's 15, there's 30, there's 68 Herblore on the account. And then another 15k towards 69. So we literally need a little over a level and a half. And then we have all the levels required for Song of the Elves. Getting really, really close to really completing all the quests, honestly. I mean, that's another Grandmaster one out the way, but there's only 7 quests left. And 2 of those are Morning's End 1 and 2, which aren't even Grandmasters. And then 1 of those is to complete a raid. So guys, with Sins of the Father complete, I'm going to get some stuff together to try a couple of runs of the Sepulchre, see what the XP an hour is like, see what the loot's like, because there's a lot of loot chests. Obviously you can earn these untradeable tokens that you can turn in for items that help you inside. Obviously we're not going to be able to store those on the guy, because that's storage. We're going to have to probably do all our Sepulchre in kind of one long run, otherwise we'll have to re-earn all our rewards and stuff again. So it's been a long time since I've done a Sepulchre. We don't have any run energy, and we don't have any of the unlocks that make this easier. So we talk to this guy, I guess, just to start things off. And then once we've spoken to him, we unlock his shop, and then you have all these items which you can equip inside. And then there's other stuff like just a sack full of useful items that you can just alch or whatever, and then a recolor for the pet, all this stuff. We're just going to send it straight in. Don't have any plugins for this, just whatever RuneLite has by default, and then also my ugly tile markers from the last few accounts I've done in here. There's certain obstacles towards the end where you can like build planks in order to get to one of the loot chests, but you need to bring a hammer and nails and planks, so it's just not worth our time. But we will be doing the grapple ones and the enchant ones for sure, and then maybe, if we happen to have enough vampire dust on us, we'll do the vampire dust doors as well. And also we brought some anti-poison, because if you fail opening these chests, then you can in fact get poisoned, so that's why we've got that. And this is our hallowed mark. We need 250 of these to get an equipable ring that stops us taking damage in here, which is the most important item. Then the rest are like 100 marks each. They're just, you know, items that make each of these obstacles easier one at a time. So let's just see if this works. No. So we need to come back with monk's robes, basically. That's fine. Hey guys, you may not like it, but this is peak agility performance. Have you ever seen a more UIM setup than what garbage we have equipped here? So this time we're able to fully restore our run energy because we're a Saradomin follower. So that's really good, and that's 500 agility XP on the account. Would recommend you put your true tile on if you're going to play this yourself, yada yada. You guys don't need me to tell you how to play RuneLite. So that's another collection log piece. We got one of these pages. I think you have a 1 in 10 chance of finding this page on each floor, so it's not really very rare. You can just add it to a book in the lobby if you care, and it just fills up with lore. So for this one, you use your best enchanting spell. So I brought this one, just because we'll get more mage XP in the meantime while going through them. And there we go, a rune 2H, see what I mean? Like, so there we go, our first lap through, we got ourselves 12 marks. But yeah, just going to chill here for a bit, see how far we can get. Really, all the good shortcuts in the game are at like 76 or below. I just want this so Morning's End 2 will be less painful later. Plus it's kind of a fun activity and it gives some cool Iron Man loot. Right, that's a couple of laps. I'm just going to put my disguise back on, run outside. We've got over the 104k that we need for our big rope. So there's these long ropes here, they're 52k each. Right, we're once again broke. I don't know if we'll ever use this, but I just find it nice to unlock things on the account. So we chuck a rope on this wall, and then we climb up, chuck a rope on the other side. Now this shortcut is complete, so we can run up from Theatre of Blood, or run down from Port Phasmatis, or run across from Sleep, or take the boat from the Ectophile. We can climb this rope. Even if we didn't have our disguise, we could just pray melee for like 3 seconds, run past all the guys and get straight back here. Hey guys, so the loot from here continues to be pretty decent even though we're only doing the first 3 floors. Obviously, as you'd imagine, the loot gets better the further you get into this, so if you're 82 or 92 and you can get to those last 2 floors, then you get better stuff out the chests. But even for us, we're actually doing okay. If you can see in the invent here, we've got quite a few prayer pots already, because we've had a couple of Ranar drops now that I've had to leave and turn into potions and decant them down to wands, just to stack them up. Also found a med clue. I don't know the rate of that, but apparently you can pull medium clues as well, which is really good. And we've also been pulling 2 and 4 dose prayer pots from these chests as well, which I've also been decanting down. Once we're done with this, we should probably have some supplies for the rest of the boss fights we have left, which is always nice. We also can get addy bolts from here, even though we can make those now. So that's also really, really useful. So hopefully by the time we've done a couple of levels of agility here, we'll have pulled out a bunch of good stuff. In terms of XP an hour, we're getting about 44k if we loot all the grapples and enchantment things that we come across, but obviously that varies wildly, and I am going to be attempting to leave and trying to do all the clues that we get, because we still want to complete a god book. After we've got Questscape and we move into some PVM type stuff, then we're probably going to want a bunch of god books for that anyway, not least for god protection in God Wars, but also just for the nice stats they give you, like the armor one, for our crossbow accuracy and stuff. So because we were getting so many Ranars and Ranar seeds and unnoted prayer potions from the Sepulchre, we did have to leave quite a lot to do a lot of potion making and potion decanting. So the benefits of having the ring first that reduces the damage you take inside weren't that valuable to this account, because obviously we'd have opportunity to just resupply on food every time we'd have to leave to make potions anyway. So what I actually decided to do was grab the grapple first, because there's quite a high chance of receiving one of the grapple shortcuts on the first few floors, and obviously we can only do the first 3 floors here, so we're seeing quite a lot of grapples, and if you do fail a grapple a couple of times in a row, it does waste a lot of time, so I figured spending the 100 marks on the grapple first was a good idea. Second up, with another 100 marks, I did decide to buy the offhand focus next. This just reduces the chance of failing the enchanting portal obstacles down to 0%, so you always succeed when going through those, which actually means we can bring less runes as well. A little bit later on, after doing this for about 4 hours, we pulled our level 75 agility. Really nice level to have. Obviously, once you've completed Song of the Elves, this is the level to do the Prifddinas course, which is actually, I think, a better course in terms of XP an hour than Sepulchre, until you get to 82 and you can do floor 4. Sometime later, as you can see here, I pulled probably the best chest possible. We got ourselves a rune plate body, which is the best alchable, obviously, and a med clue on the same chest. And as you can see there in the invent, we've already stacked up a couple of medium caskets, which is really, really nice from doing this for a while. With the next 100 marks, I decided to buy the necklace from the reward shop. Equipping this obviously counts as a Saradomin item, but it also allows you to get through the vampire dust doors with only 1 dust instead of 2. So this made it a little bit more viable to actually collect dust before coming back for a run. One of the chests I looted actually gave us like over 100 blood runes, so I decided it was finally time to go make the Barrows portal I've been talking about for so long. So I snipped to Falador, grabbed a mind bomb beer, and just grabbed the remaining runes that we'd need, like some laws or whatever, and just went to our house, drank the boost, and just made the Barrows portal in our house. So that's now out the way and sorted. I wanted the inventory space back for this stack of med clues, so I thought I'd open them at Ali's shop just so we could buy alks here and alk any of the addy drops we got. I actually managed to pull some spiked manacles, which are kind of interesting. They're kind of a boot similar to dragon boots in terms of strength bonus, but with less defense, so I kind of decided to hang on to those for future melee training before we get like 83 Slayer or whatever it is to get proper dragon boots. But yeah, the other stuff, we just got like an addy skirt G and a Loverkenj banner in terms of uniques, and then just alked all the other generic drops from those. I can't complain about our clue lock on this account, but honestly it would have been so much nicer to pull ranger boots. We're doing so much ranging on this account compared to maging or meleeing, and we've already seen both manacles and wizard boots on this account. Next up was Tears of Guthix, went into Runecraft this week, pushing us up to 66 Runecraft. Don't mind at all about Tears of Guthix going into Runecraft, because even with Guardians of the Rift, it's not the fastest skill in the world, and we would like to get closer to Blood Runes, so can't complain about that one. Then we went back to Sepulchre, got ourselves the 250 marks for the ring. That's the final unlock we're actually going to be getting from Sepulchre. There's only one more unique, which is the Hallowed Hammer, but like I say, that just reduces the chance of failing when doing the bridge building obstacles, which we don't actually do. So any future marks from here, we're going to save and probably just spend on like a bag of consumables or whatever. But there it is, there's 76, the Zalandra hop. So that's really good. That's all the sort of essential, I would call them, agility unlocks done. We kind of want 80-ish for Morning's End 2. I'm tempted to just go try it now, because every time I've attempted a quest, basically it's just we've been able to do it anyway. If I go attempt the quest, I'm going to have to ditch all of our hallowed items, which means that if it is difficult to complete, and we do need to level our agility up more and come back here, then I'll have to earn these again. But yeah, there's level 76. What I'm going to do is at least stay here till we get 100 marks, because then we can cash those out into one of the bags of items at the store. It gives you a couple of rolls of the hallowed coffin loot roll here, so you can get some good stuff. We've been getting a ton of good loot while in here, actually. Got like 200k cash, a whole bunch of alks, a ton of like just unnoted prayer pots that I've noted down, as you can see, nearly 200 doses, and then also we've been planting Renars. It's actually really good for loot, this place. The XP is decent. I think if we don't leave, we can get like over 45k an hour, like 47k, something like that, which is really nice. But like as a realistic XP an hour for our account, we've been getting around 30 to 35 maybe. You know, if I get a med clue, I leave to try do it. If we get any seeds, I leave to plant those and go harvest our other seeds and then make those all into prayer pots and note them up. Also need to like stop and kill some vampires outside for vampire dust sometimes, so we can get through the vampire dust kind of doors to get to some of the chests in here. So you know, I could definitely be getting a lot more XP an hour if I wasn't looting anything, but I think it's just far better for the account. Like I've got 850k coins from playing this way. I ditched all our broad bolts from before, so I've managed to save up nearly 1400 addy bolts, so we can turn them into rubies and diamonds going forward. Like I say, I do probably want to use these special bolts for Dragon Slayer 2 for the dragon bosses. Right gamers, 100 marks, got ourselves 76 agility, also got half a thieving level, which doesn't really matter. What I'm just going to do, just buy one of these hallowed sacks, then we'll have 2 marks left. Let's see what we get from this, because I've not actually opened one of these for a while. 170 bloods, 200 laws, a full prayer pot, coins, air runes, chaos runes. So I mean decent, you know. A bit of a shame I didn't pull the hallowed lockpick. I don't think it's super rare. It's like 1 in 200 from the first floor, and then it's 1 in 120, and then 1 in 90. So we should have had like a decent chance per run through to get one, but that's okay. Right guys, with that bout of agility, I'm going to call agility finished there. I'm going to stop at 76 for now. Like I say, I did want like up to 80 one day for the Tavali skip, but I think we're done in terms of the items we want from Sepulchre. Made a lot in alkables, we got a lot of Ranars and prayer pots, and we got a lot of addy bolts, so I don't think we need any more of any of that stuff. Just a quick recap, we started with Beneath Cursed Sands, obviously a nice little quest unlocking the Keris and unlocking access to Raids 3, as well as an additional fairy ring down south in the desert, which is always good. Didn't do much in the way of diary tasks. I guess technically we did one western task because we checked on the palm tree from last episode, but I already considered that task complete, so we really didn't do anything in the way of diaries. But we did complete A Taste of Hope, which is the vampire quest where we fought the boss outside the Theatre of Blood, and then the subsequent Grandmaster Sins of the Father quest, unlocking a bunch of cool stuff in and around Darkmire, including the Hallowed Sepulchre, Dayal Essence, Via Watch tasks, Blood Shards, Blood Furies, and from those vampire quests we also got ourselves a combined total of 52,500 Herblore XP, which puts us now to 68 Herblore, only 2 levels left for 70 for Song of the Elves and the final quest skill requirement for our Questscape. Next episode, I do want to go tackle Morning's End Part 1 and 2. Might be kind of difficult if we fail those handholds a lot with our agility level, because when you're in the Temple of Light in Morning's End 2, there's a lot of item juggling with all the lenses and stuff you get in there. We're going to have to bring prayer pots and food, so that should be a very interesting one, but I do want to get both those quests done. Then it'll literally just be 2 Herblore levels left, and we'll have access to every other quest left on the account. So yeah, hope to see you in the next one, guys. Got a few more quests left. Can't wait to get this done, get our Questscape, get into some PVM. Just really excited, as usual, for the progress of this account. I hope you guys are too, so I'll see you in next week's video. Drop a like, drop a comment, drop a subscribe. Really does actually help the channel out. Yeah, see you in the next one. Bye!